Good morning, friends at Calahonda. We're back together once again with our discipleship program. I'm calling it Mind Space. If you're new to us, we're memorizing one verse a month, 12 this year. We're working on Isaiah 9:6 this morning. Let's read it slowly together as I read. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. If you're new to us, I remind you that these verses were written hundreds of years before Jesus was born. This is one of the great passages of the Bible that predicts a coming Messiah. And just to flesh this out for you a little bit, I want to read a little bit more of the context of this verse. I'm going to jump back up to verse 1 of chapter 9 and start reading there. Nevertheless, there will be no more gloom for those who were in distress. In the past, he humbled the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali. But in the future, he will honor Galilee of the Gentiles by the way of the sea along the Jordan. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned. And then there's several verses talking about the conflict and tumult that'll be at the end of days, and that will surround the coming of this Messiah. And we come to our verse, jumping down to verse 6. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And then it goes on next verse, of the increase of his government and peace there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding it with justice and righteousness from that time on and forever. The zeal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this. And you can just imagine how excited the people at the time of Jesus were when some of them began to think that maybe Jesus was this person. And then later, how disappointed they were when Jesus didn't bring them a political kingdom. He brought them a spiritual kingdom of the heart, but promised that a real live king with a real live kingdom would be coming and was still in the offing. And that is what we're still waiting for, just like Isaiah was waiting for Christ back in his day. And it will happen specifically, historically, just as it happened for those at the time of Isaiah who were looking ahead to the time of the Messiah. So if you're new to this passage, you haven't heard this before, I hope you find this encouraging and thought-provoking. And for those of us who've known this for a long time, it's so wonderful just to reread these verses, especially at this time of year. These are great Christmas verses. We read them at Advent time and remember how God has worked out history to his purposes. So soak in these and enjoy them this week. We'll gather around them again next week to review.